So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our second town hall. These are part of our consultation on the development of new regulations on solid fuel. My name is Dr Irene Cadogan, and I work in the Clean Air Unit in the Department of the Environment, Climate and Communications. While we would have preferred to have held these events in person, we thank you for joining us all virtually here today. We are still letting a few people into the room, so we would ask everyone to turn off their cameras and mute their microphones just as a courtesy. We are recording this event just so that you're aware. We'll be making some of the presentations, the slides and the recording available on our website in the coming weeks. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank my team, Ger, Colin and Joan, who are in the background working away, and also the comms team for all their work and helping put this event together. So I suppose we'll just kick off with why we're developing these new regulations. So the original regulations were developed in the 1990s because of coal use and smog in Dublin. And because of the positive impact these had on air quality, the regulations were extended numerous times to include new areas. These low smoke zones saw an improvement in air quality, but we recognise that there are limitations. Solid fuels make up about 13.6% of the total final energy consumed in the residential sector, but they account for about 60% of our fine particulate matter emissions. They also contribute to about 57% of our annual sulphur dioxide emissions and 92% of our PAH emissions, and they also release other chemicals. Currently, we're not in breach of any of the EU limits, but our ambition is to move to WHO standards for air pollutants, and this won't be achieved without reducing solid fuel use in the residential sector. So the research also indicates that the contribution of peat and wood to particulate matter, as well as coal in the air, can also be considerable. There are a much wider range of health impacts than originally understood, and these are not just from air quality outside our homes, but also inside. We need to do more. It is therefore important to consider the potential health benefits to be achieved by extending the regulations to other residential solid fuels. Determining the contribution of each solid fuel to air pollutant levels is complex, and that is a key element of the call for evidence that we're running as part of the consultation to help us determine how best to regulate. Ultimately, the regulations and any supporting policy measures will be designed to help people transition to better fuel quality. We know big change won't happen overnight, but we want to support and encourage people to make better choices. So I'll just share a little bit about the consultation. Now, so the consultation itself was launched on the 18th of February and will run until the 2nd of April. And it's really to help us to gather insights and evidence to develop new regulations that will help us ensure improved air quality for all our citizens. The new regulations will move from the regulation of specified fuels in designated areas to regulations that apply across the entire state. We want to increase the range of solid fuels that will be regulated and determine how best to regulate additional solid fuels. We also want to ensure that the appropriate enforcement instruments are available to local authorities and anybody else involved in enforcement. All the details of the consultation itself can be found on gov.ie/clean air. So as well as a traditional technical consultation and a call for evidence, there is also some wider public engagement that we've been doing as part of this consultation. So we've been running a survey, a questionnaire which mirrors the technical consultation document questions, and we've also been engaging on social media to help people and raise awareness of the better choices that they can make. And we've also had these town halls. This is the second. So today we'll have our two speakers. So Dr. Jurgita Ovnavate will speak about solid fuel and air quality, and Dr. Ovnavate is joining us from the Centre for Climate and Air Pollution Studies in the Ryan Institute in NUIG. We'll also be hearing from Dr. Colin Byrne from the Mater on air quality and health impacts. And then when we start our Q&A, we'll be joined by our panelist, Pat Kenny, who's looking after the Ambient Air Quality Unit in the EPA, and Susan Andrews, who works in the Home Energy Grant section of the SEAI. So just a quick overview of some of the responses that we've had to the consultation to date. We've had 1,092 surveys completed, 175 questionnaires and 70 emails to date. We want to reiterate that no decisions have been made around regulations. We are going to wait until the consultation responses have been properly analysed. But we do want to, I suppose, reinforce the point that it will not be an outright ban on all solid fuels, and that we have no plans to ban turf or wood burning. There does seem to be a slight misconception of that at the moment. Just in terms of some of the results of the survey and some of the questions that we asked if people use solid fuel, what kind of appliance do they use? And the large majority are using stoves and then open fires, and much smaller numbers have eco-design stoves or wood pellet burners, and there's over 100 people using ranges. And there is a mix. There are a number of respondents who use a number of different appliances. We also asked people if they were in favour of stricter controls on solid fuels, and about 57% are in favour, but this does change depending on where people are based. So over 82% of people who live in a city would favour stricter controls, which is compared to 39% of the countryside. Overall, about 68% of people were worried about air quality in their community, and about 57% were worried about air quality within their home. Some other key points to note from the responses so far: about 27% use solid fuel only for heating in their home, and about 43% use solid fuel to help reduce the overall cost of their heating. 23% indicated that they use solid fuel for just comfort and ambience within their home. And a large number of people also mentioned the point that they had free access to wood or turf, that they use it for additional heating or room-only heating, or as a backup in very cold weather. And also a number of people indicated that they like the ability to buy weekly in terms of, compared to other fuels. And then we also asked people in the last 5 years if they'd made any changes in their homes to help with fuel efficiency. So a number of people, 41% of respondents actually had improved the insulation within their home, and 27% had moved from an open fire to a stove. Only 3% had removed the solid fuel burning appliance completely, and about 21% had installed or upgraded to a more efficient heating system. So I suppose overall the main points that have been raised, there's a concern in a lot of the responses that we're looking at a full ban on all solid fuels, and I want to reiterate the point that that is not the case. But there are a number of areas for consideration that we will be taking on board, and these are around fuel poverty, the cost of changing, people's ideas around tradition and comfort and ambience within their homes, the use of solid fuels for a backup heat source or targeted heating, and also issues around poorly insulated homes and older homes that are not as easily upgraded. We also do need to balance this with the concerns of people about the health impacts, and also around the impact on their community and the impact within their own home.